I'm so glad you're with us on the Clark Howard Show, where it's all about you learning ways to keep more of what you make. Our web address, clark.com. When you got a question for me, clark.com/ask. Coming up in today's Clark Courageous Moment, I'm going to tell you about my misadventure with a car rental recently and what you need to know when you travel don't work out like you expect. And later this hour, healthcare spending in America is out of control. We are on the edge of $1 in $5 in the U.S. economy being sucked away by healthcare. Let me tell you, that does not make America competitive in this world. I want to talk right now about something that is hyper-competitive. I know this is odd to talk about for people who live in areas where schools don't return till after Labor Day, but in most of the country now, schools go back either this week or next week. And so we are in the key back-to-school sales season for school supplies, clothing, that sort of thing. And a couple of things I want to mention to you about this. Number one, for the most basic of supplies, the sales flyers that offer the dirt cheap school supplies will save you a ton. I was just at a back-to-school sale aisle in one of the dollar stores, and it's incredible how cheap the supplies are if you buy from the limited selection that are available in a dollar store like Dollar Tree or 99-cent only, or at a discount store like Walmart or Target. When you stick to the things they brought in the temporary boxes that are the great cheap items, and if you have a small business, buy your supplies during these promotional events. But the whole game played at Walmart and Target, Office Depot, Office Max, Staples, is to have these loss leaders get you in there, and then your kids say, no, I don't want that. I want this over here. I want this other thing. And what about that too? And I want the cute erasers, not those erasers that are on sale. That is the enemy of your wallet. It's up to you as a parent, to be a parent and make sure you stay within that budget. On clothing, the clothing deals are extraordinary during the back-to-school sales. They're fantastic. Extra inexpensive. By the way, with kids being so much bigger than they used to be, particularly high schoolers, back to school is a great time for me to buy stuff for myself at very cheap prices. And so I take advantage of that. And I'm wearing right now a golf shirt I got for $5, 100% cotton. Doesn't it look good? Anyway, $5, back to school item. So you can save a lot. But for high schoolers, be careful buying too much at back to school in terms of clothing. Because the problem is, with a lot of teenagers, you could buy clothing that they're not going to wear once they get to school and they see what's in right now. And so you would spend money that's a waste. I like for you to look at buying clothes for teenagers till after school's been underway a couple of weeks. And I don't know what the culture is in your household, but buying used clothing is a great way to save money. My teenage daughter and a friend of hers went to a used clothing store, and they had a great time buying clothes for school. And so they both have stuff that they want to wear this fall. My daughter goes to a school with uniform, so it's for what they call, they have some funny name for the Nud Days. No uniform days. Nud Days. She's got her outfits for those. And then, of course, when she's not at school, and bought them all used. Peggy's with us on the Clark Howard Show. Hi, Peggy. How are you?
Hi there. I'm good.
Peggy,
so glad to talk to you.
Well, it's great to have you here. You are buying a used car right now, and that is a dicey thing, isn't it?
Yes.
What's going on with that used car purchase?
Well, I had found a used minivan on Car Gurus, and minivans are not so prevalent these days in the car lot, so I've had to do an online search. And I have kind of special needs. My husband's in a wheelchair, so we need to have the minivan. An SUV just won't work. It's not as roomy. So
there's nothing like a minivan for carrying a lot of people or a lot of stuff, is there?
That's right. Very roomy.
So you've been looking around. You found this one on Car Gurus, which is a shopping site I've talked about before. And this is being sold by a dealer or an individual, the one you found in another state?
It's a used car dealer, it looks like.
Okay. All right. And how far away? Is it across the country, or how far away is it from you, Peggy?
Oh, it's about 500 miles from me.
Well, you live in Idaho, so that could be just like around the corner, right? 500 miles?
It's about a 12-hour drive, I would say.
Wow. Okay, so all you've seen is the listing, and you've not seen the vehicle in person. Obviously, you haven't had it checked out by a mechanic.
Right.
How are you proceeding from here? Are you going to make that 12-hour drive, or are you trying to buy it short of having to go drive over there and see it?
Well, so far I've talked to a salesman there and contemplated the price and whether I would drive there or have them put it on a truck and deliver it. Now, he said it would be upwards of $400 for delivery, and that would probably be about as much as it would cost me to get on an airplane and fly down there and look at it too. But I'm very hesitant to buy something I haven't seen and touched.
I wouldn't even begin to consider buying the van without having had it checked out. Not necessarily you seeing it, but a mechanic that you hire in that market that you pay to go check it out. There are independent diagnostic mechanics that have become very successful businesses, principally because of people who buy vehicles on eBay Motors, and they'll buy elsewhere in the country. And so these mechanics go and they check out the vehicle for you. They're working for you. They give you a report back, let you know as best they can determine the condition of the vehicle. And that's the best way to avoid trouble. You going to see it is a consideration, but it's not as big a consideration as whether or not you have had it checked out by a professional.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And also, my other issue was if I did agree on a price and transact, how to safely pay and trust and receive the vehicle as expected.
You mean you're worried you send the money and then no vehicle shows up and you're left dead in the water with it? Well, that's why it's a better idea for you to go and buy that one-way airline ticket if it checks out with the mechanic, and then take delivery at the dealer. But one thing, when you're dealing with someone that far away, you want to have an agreement in writing already what the purchase is in terms of price, any add-on junk fees they have. You don't want to get there and then they figure, oh, we got her. We got her right here. We're going to rip her off. We're going to charge her this fee and that fee and the other fee.
Right.
So you need a written sales order that is agreed to by both parties before you would get on an airplane and go get that vehicle.
Yeah.
And then when you go to get it, as long as they've got title right there, what you do is you authorize a wire to them and pay them right then and there with a wire from your financial institution to theirs. Then they know they have collected funds and you haven't turned over funds till you have taken delivery of the vehicle that they have an actual title available to sign over to you.
Right.
So one of the questions to ask the dealer is, do you have title to this vehicle? I can't even tell you how many times over the years I've had calls from people who bought vehicles at used car lots and then have not been able to get the vehicles titled because the dealer did not have a title for it.
Right. One thing they asked me to do is to go on their website and apply online and fill out all the information there, and they wanted my driver's license number and my Social Security number. And if I'm not pursuing credit or a loan from them, they don't need that, do they?
I know of no reason why they would need your Social Security number. Some car dealers will say they're trying to comply with anti-money laundering laws, but if you are paying the dealer by money from your bank to theirs, then I think you're right to suspect that it's more about them wanting to try to pull your credit and sell you financing. But let's go all the way back full circle. Remember, you start with having it inspected by an independent mechanic in that market to make sure it is A-OK. That'll usually cost you $100 or so more or less. Charlie's with us on the Clark Howard Show. Hi, Charlie.
Hello, Clark.
How you doing?
Great. How are you doing?
Good. You're looking at getting somebody to advise you on your money.
Yes, I'm retired, and I have a small nest egg, and it's with a bank right now. I just don't feel that the bank is very aggressive and doing well with my limited amount of money.
Well, you don't want to have money that's for the future ever with a bank. Banks are only places for parking spaces, meaning checking accounts.
Exactly what it's doing.
Yeah. So if this is your nest egg for the future, there's never a circumstance that I've ever heard where it would make sense to have money with a bank or the brokerage arm of a bank. That you want to be with either an independent financial planner that you pay a fee to, or you want to be with a company where you make your investing decisions.
Okay. Well, I've tried the individual planner route, and I felt like I was being taken advantage of. So,
well, as long as you hire a fee-only financial planner, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to have somebody who's going to be great at it, but it means that they are working for you, and they are your fiduciary. They take no commissions for anything. They're only working for you. They're representing Charlie, not themselves.
I contacted a fee-only agency, and they emailed me a very detailed questionnaire to fill out, and with very intrusive questions. Estate planning documents, privately owned insurance, bank accounts, investments. They want to know everything. And I'm not willing to share my entire personal life with these people. I just want some advice on investing.
Well, actually, that is what a true, real financial planner will do, is they're going to dig deep, and they're going to come up with an overall picture of your financial health or lack thereof and help you come up with a plan for your life. And, with the depth of the questions, it seems really, really invasive of your privacy. That's why you should go meet with somebody for a preliminary session to see, is this the person I want handling my money and my future? And so if you were to select somebody from, you probably heard me talk about Garrett Planning Network and the fee-only financial site that I've got at Clark.com where you can find someone near you. And if you go with a real, true, fee-only financial planner, any of them are going to be as intrusive as you feel this to be. So that's their job. You need that kind of human intrusion in your life. I never settle personal scores on the air. I don't do it. I won't do it. But I will share personal experiences that you'll get a kick out of and you can learn from. Today's Clarkrageous Moment is a perfect example.
Scams, ripoffs, outrages. It's a Clarkrageous Moment.
I was visiting Tulsa, Oklahoma, visiting my wonderful affiliate, KRMG, and I flew back from KRMG to Orlando and was picking up a subcompact rental car in Orlando. I get to the rental counter, and the person at the rental counter, not rude or anything, says, yeah, we have your reservation. We have no cars. And then looks back down at whatever he's doing. And I guess expects me to walk away and do what they call in the industry a walk, and then I would be on my own to go find another car. And this happens all the time when you rent cars. Car rental companies plan for so many people to no-show that they go really tight on the bookings and the cars they have available, and you end up in a walk. Well, I just stood there and said, well, I need a car. What can you do? And so he's like, well, we do have a minibus. Can you drive one? And I said, yes. And I have a commercial driver's license, so I can drive that thing. And so he rents me this minibus that was filthy dirty and had no gas in it. It got me to where I needed to go. It was not a great experience. And I posted a video of it on our Facebook page that has generated, I think, more than 10,000 comments. I want you to go look at the posting. We have it for you. And I want you to look at what I ended up with as a vehicle. It's kind of crazy for one person driving, which you'll see I had to drive. But the thing is, with travel, the time to resolve something is when you're at the counter, not later. However you can resolve it, you need to. You don't want to walk away like they were trying to get me to just walk away and be left licking my wounds.
You know, there's one thing in life that you can't really put a price on: a good night's sleep. Well, a lot of companies try to put a price on it, a huge price on it, in fact, but not Casper. You see, the Casper is an obsessively engineered mattress at a shockingly fair price. They combine springy latex and supportive memory foams to create an award-winning sleep surface with just the right sink and just the right bounce. In fact, Time magazine named it one of the best inventions of 2015, and now it's the most awarded mattress of the decade. Really good mattresses can often cost you $1,500 to thousands more. But Casper mattresses cost $500 for a twin, $750 for a full, $850 for a queen, and just $950 for a king. And buying a Casper is completely risk-free. Casper offers free delivery and free returns with a 100-night home trial for you. So if you don't love it, they'll pick it up and refund you all of your money. You see, Casper understands the importance of really sleeping on a mattress before you commit to it, not spending 15 minutes in a store laying there and thinking, well, maybe this'll work. Especially considering that you spend 1/3 of your life on your mattress. And all Caspers are made in America, with free shipping to the U.S. and Canada. And if you go to Casper.com/business now and use the promo code BUSINESS, you will save $50 on any mattress purchase. That's Casper.com/business. Use the promo code BUSINESS. Casper Mattress. Finally, get yourself a good night's sleep.
I'm so glad you're with us on the Clark Howard Show, where it's all about you and your wallet. I want you to learn ideas from me that'll help you save more and spend less, and don't let anybody ever rip you off. Our web address, clark.com. You got a question for me? clark.com/ask. And do you know, because I'll ask when I'm speaking somewhere, I ask, how many people know that we provide free off-the-air advice 45 hours a week, and almost no hands go up, no matter where I speak, that people don't know that. I want you to know that. I want you to be able to get the answers to your questions and have them vetted thoroughly, and that's why we make it possible for you to get free off-the-air advice from a member of our team 9 hours a day, Monday to Friday, except holidays. You can see how to do that, how to ask a question, how to call in at clark.com. We are in the midst of a very contentious election. Never have we had nominees from the two political parties that go into a fall campaign starting off with as many negatives in polling as the two nominees have. This is the first time I can remember in a long time, in a generation, that people are testing out third-party candidates with some seriousness. And I don't do a political show. But as part of Campaign 2016, I am going to talk about issues that the politicians are only going to demagogue about or avoid, that are things I think we as a country have to deal with. So through the campaign cycle, you'll hear me talk about things that I want us as a nation to look at like adults. And these are things that you can't talk about in a soundbite. One example, I'll do it as a soundbite. We got to do something about 10 and 10. Doesn't that sound like it? All right. So 10, the first 10. This year, we are going to spend an average of $10,000 on health care for every man, woman, and child in the United States. $10,000 a person for all 321 million of us, or whatever number we are. And healthcare is right on the edge of getting to where it will represent $1 in $5 in the U.S. economy, which is terrible for us increasing living standards in the United States. It's terrible for our competitive position in the world. And the problems come from many different angles. Drug makers in the United States raise the average price of a prescription. This is the other 10% over the last year. Not because of any breakthrough or anything like that, just because they could push through the increases. We've got to get our arms around what's going on with healthcare and the cost of it, because every dollar that is sucked into the inefficient hole of medicine in the United States, into that industry, is a dollar that cannot increase our ability to compete, to educate our citizens, to train people, for people to have money to use on other things in their lives. And no matter who occupies the White House and no matter who controls the House and the Senate, we are going to have a serious assessment about how we're going to provide health care in the United States. Because what we're doing is not working. I know there are people in the political spectrum that would say, Obamacare, Obamacare, Obamacare. This goes so much wider than Obamacare, because Obamacare is just about who pays, but nothing about how to provide medicine more efficiently. Employer-provided health care, not about providing medical care more efficiently. So how would I do it? I'd start with a simple premise, and that is no more employer-provided and no more government-provided health care. We need to go to a system where each individual is responsible for his or her own healthcare decisions. And the government's role would be to provide vouchers for people, like gift certificates, for people to shop for coverage. But the decisions need to be changed totally so that you as an individual are picking and choosing. And you choose just like you could choose. You want to go to Walmart to buy something, or you want to go to Neiman Marcus, or you want to go to the dollar store, whatever it is. In everything else in your life, you pick and choose. You decide what you want to pay, what kind of shopping experience you want, whatever. What kind of car you drive. Right now, healthcare is imposed on us. We need to get to where you and I are the decision makers. And when it becomes truly consumer-driven, the costs that are sucking so much of the life out of the U.S. economy will be tamed. Gosh, that platform would get me elected for nothing, right? Regina's with us on the Clark Howard Show. Hi, Regina.
Hi, how are you?
Great, thank you, Regina. You have a daughter who's headed to college?
She will be a senior this year, and I wanted to kind of get ahead of the game as far as applying for scholarships.
Senior in high school or college?
Yes, in high school.
Oh, okay. You were scaring me. I was like, you're a little late to be calling me about senior year of college.
No, she's going to be starting her senior year in high school.
And I know this is a silly question to ask of the mom of a teenager, but what does she think she wants to do for a living?
She does show a lot of interest in criminal justice, and she likes forensic science and things like that, and she also likes interior design, so she's not dead set on one thing just yet.
And she shouldn't be. There's the rare individual who at, let's say, 17 or 18 knows what he or she wants to do, and that's it. Over our working lifetime, most of us will do many different kinds of things. And I think we put too much pressure on our kids saying, so what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to study? So in terms of colleges, is she looking at private colleges, state schools, local community college at first?
We did visit a college on Monday that she's very interested in. However, it's away. It's still in state. So looking at the cost, the highest part of it is, of course, housing. So that was a bit of a concern because our oldest daughter went to a local college and lived at home.
Yeah, but you already said something that made me smile. When you say that the highest cost of at a college is the cost of where she's going to sleep at night, that means it's a college without a terrible tuition.
Right. So it's a smaller college, and I was very pleased with everything that they offered. Seemed like a very safe campus. It's a smaller college. It's only like 2.5 hours from where we live. But again, the main concern is paying for housing. That's a big,
Sure, and the scholarships aren't going to be about that, but they will defray other expenses for her. I want to tell you about a source that has really stood the test of time, and it's called FastWeb. Is that something you've heard of yet?
FastWeb?
Yes, FastWeb.
No, I haven't heard of that.
FastWeb is the best clearinghouse information source in the country for what kind of obscure scholarships might be available for the specific school that she's interested in going to, or an area that she thinks she might want to study, or, just for all different reasons that money may be available. And the scholarships tend to be like $1,000 here, $500 there, and there are processes to apply. Some require essays, others just require writing about your life story that would apply for what that scholarship's about. And FastWeb is excellent. Now, I will tell you that with her coming into her senior year, you're going to start getting junk mail from scam fake scholarship services. And you need to know that those things go straight in the circular file.
Oh, I have a shred bag. So
you've already been getting those?
We've gotten a few things, and I'm like, that doesn't sound legit.
Right, but this one is the real deal.
Okay.
So
we'll definitely have to check that out.
And what I love about it is designed for your daughter to do the work, not you.
Well, I will definitely be handing on that information to her.
And so I also have at Clark.com a story we posted earlier this year that you'll find that's our guide to the best ways to find college scholarships. So if you go to Clark.com and you put in the search box college scholarships, you can see what we've compiled as information for her as well to do some of her own digging and her own advocacy.
Oh, that's fantastic. We did tell her, if you really want to go away, I said, you really need to look into some scholarship opportunities, because with our older daughter, we were fortunate enough not to have student loans because she did live at home.
But the thing is about your daughter is you set the standard, that she's got to go out, Regina, and do this work herself. She earns her way into that sleepaway environment for school instead of staying home. And then she appreciates it so much more because she's done the work. Fred is with us on the Clark Howard Show. Hello, Fred.
Hey, Clark. It's a real pleasure.
Well, Fred, it's great to have you here. You're thinking of being a home seller, not a home buyer.
Exactly.
What's the story?
Well, the housing market in my neighborhood has appeared to come back, and homes are selling in less than a month after being placed on the market.
You know that's really quick, right?
Yeah, we were very surprised. 2 went up in our street and sold in less than a month. And I've been following it on Zillow. And my wife and I have discussed moving, but want to maximize our asking price. So we're not in a hurry to move. And do you have any advice for timing this current market, or have advice on what indicators to pay attention to?
Well, if it's a neighborhood of children, that the window for getting a home sold, getting a home on the market, is based so much on school calendars. Is yours a kid-oriented neighborhood?
It is.
Okay, so, your window may be, it's not shut, but you've missed a fair amount of your window for selling right now in a kid-oriented neighborhood. But the flip side of that is there's going to be a much less competition of people trying to sell once that window has closed between the school years. But as far as what you said, I want to caution you that people who tend to go for a high price up front, houses may linger on the market, and people who post too high a price up front mathematically, historically end up with less money in the end than people who do a price that attracts a lot of traffic. Because if you do a price that is one you and your wife can smile about, but generates a buyer in the first 2 weeks, that, in terms of market efficiency, will get you, on average, the highest asking price for your home. Or selling price for your home.
Now, do you foresee any bubbles in this current housing market? Do you see any cracks?
No, we're not in a bubble. There's no hysteria going on. There's nobody saying, "Oh, you got to get in now because home prices are going to go up 20% a year." None of that stuff from last decade is going on. And there's an advantage to you in the market right now with mortgage rates being so low now, lower than I could have imagined. That creates a sense of urgency in buyers and potentially helps you get more money. What I want you to do, what I'd like for you and your wife to consider, is drive through your extended neighborhood. Look for the names you're seeing on signs over and over again. Usually there will be 3 or 4 agents that sell most of the real estate in a particular neighborhood. Call each of them in. Have them assess value of your home. And then if you're ready to go, get it done and get it sold. Charlie's with us on the Clark Howard Show. Hi, Charlie. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Clark. It's nice to talk with you.
Well, great having you here. You have a question for me about credit cards that is a puzzle.
Indeed. For as long as I've been listening to your show, which has been for many years, you've always said that a consumer should not close a credit card account because of the effect on a credit card score. However, what I've seen on Credit Karma is that they tend to look at your average age of account. So let's just say, hypothetically, the average age of my credit card accounts are 10 years, and I have an account that's maybe 6 months to a year old. Wouldn't closing that account increase my credit score by increasing the average age?
What a great question. It doesn't actually work like that. So that would not change the average. It seems like it would, but let's take an example. Let's say you killed the 10-year card. And you think, that's going to completely skew the math. But what is looked at on the report is that you had 10 years of history there. So the way the credit scoring models work, and by the way, age of your credit is a small enough factor on your credit report that that's not the bigger factor or even an important one in relation to what we're discussing. The big one is that you want to have as much available credit as you can. So if you close those newer accounts, you're reducing your amount of available credit, and that affects 30% of your credit score.
Okay, so the advice still holds is keep those accounts open and just...
Yeah, unless a card has an annual fee, and the annual fee is just eating your wallet and you're not using the card. Do they have annual fees?
Nope, these are all free and clear.
So I would say there's no advantage to closing the accounts. Are you tempted that you might use them or something?
I will use them just to keep them active right now. That's
perfect. So you're doing exactly the right thing, keeping them open and using them twice a year.
You know, when you're going to buy a car, pricing information is great and necessary, but there's more to doing it than just the price. There's the actual buying experience. If you want to enjoy a better one, you should go to a True Car certified dealer. They're there to help you find the car that you want, and they're also what make True Car unique. With True Car, you can connect with a local certified dealer that you choose, so you can lock in a guaranteed savings off the MSRP and enjoy a totally better buying experience. And by better, they also mean faster. Over 2 million cars have already been sold to True Car users who have visited their True Car certified dealer. And there are over 11,000 True Car certified dealers nationwide, so it's probably pretty easy to find one near you. And check this, for a new car, average True Car users save $3,279 off MSRP. All right, so you're probably wondering, how do I do this? It's easy. Just go to TrueCar.com or, right there on your phone, download the True Car app. You can find the car you want, see the True Car pricing curve, which shows you what other people in your area paid for the same car, and that way you can know you're getting a good price and feel confident. Then you'll get a guaranteed savings certificate from the True Car certified dealer. Go to the dealer, and your guaranteed savings off MSRP will be honored, and you enjoy a quick, easy experience. How's that for car buying? So when you're ready to buy a new car, or even a used one, visit TrueCar.com or download the TrueCar app and enjoy the better car buying experience. Some features are not available in all states.
Welcome to the Clark Howard Show. It's a pleasure to have you here. This show's about your empowerment with knowledge so that you can fatten your wallet. That's right. I want you to keep more of what you make. Our web address is clark.com. Got a question for me? Go to clark.com/ask. Coming up a half hour from now, I got some new news for you about credit cards. Something that you may need to do to protect your wallet is coming your way in just 30 minutes. I've got a crazy thing to tell you. You know, retailers are battling returns like they never have ever because people are much more likely to return merchandise than in the past. Traditional retailers, bricks and mortar, are so freaked out about returns that many are making returns more difficult for you, where you must have a receipt. They might take your picture if you come back with something to return without a receipt. They may take a copy of your driver's license. They do not want those returns. Online, on the other hand, online sellers know that returns are just part of the game. And returns at a lot of retailers now are roughly around a fourth to a third of all the merchandise they sell. So returns are a big, big, big deal for your wallet for this reason. With the online sellers, a lot of the returned items come back and they're not truly in condition where they can be sent right back out to another person. For any of a number of reasons, the item cannot be resold. So now there are jobbers that have popped up around the country, actually worldwide, that buy inventory in what they call lot purchases. And sometimes they're what are known as blind lots. They're buying everything that a retailer's trying to get rid of in that lot, and they bid against each other, and somebody ends up with it, and then they go through it painstakingly, item by item, to see what they can sell, and then they might sell it in eBay's marketplace or Amazon's marketplace, or they may sell items that are bigger locally on Craigslist. The crazy thing is this is hazard and opportunity all wrapped up in one for your wallet. I'm not talking about you going out and becoming one of these jobbers. I'm talking about you buying from one of these jobbers. I remember one of my daughters was looking at a Life-Proof case. You know what that is? It's a brand of case for phones. And it's supposed to be like even better than an OtterBox, whatever. They're very expensive. And there was one that was available really cheap, no box. Almost certainly it was an item on eBay that was being sold by one of these jobbers because it was unused, no box. So when you're looking to save money on accessories or items that are available for sale now, and you go look on eBay, you always have the issue potentially of counterfeits, but more often these will be these items in this gray unknown zone that are items that were returned by somebody are probably just fine. But who knows? What I recommend to you is be opportunistic. You want to know that seller's policy on returns. If all sales are final sight unseen and it's beyond a price you're comfortable with, don't buy. On the other hand, if it's cheap enough and you're like, okay, I'll take a chance, just like they took a chance buying it blind, you buy it and save money. Or if it's more money and they have a right for a return for your money back, why not? Because this is a new part of the online economy. Of the items that you buy, you don't want, you'd return them, they get jettisoned. Somebody comes along, sees an opportunity to earn a living themselves, and creates an opportunity for you to buy at an even better price. Leah is with us on the Clark Howard Show. Hello, Leah.
Hi.
Leah, I am very distressed about what you're going to share with me. You spent your own hard-earned money to buy what?
A hoverboard.
And are you good on the hoverboard?
Yeah, they're a lot of fun, actually.
I tried to ride my daughter's hoverboard, and I was not good at it. In fact, I'm lucky I didn't end up in the hospital emergency room.
Yeah, my parents had trouble, too.
How old are you, Leah?
I'm 12 years old.
12 years old. So for kids at your age, there's nothing to it. You just probably got on the thing, intuitively knew how to ride it, and you were off, right?
Kind of.
Yeah. But now there's something that is a problem with your hoverboard. Tell me what's up.
Well, the company I ordered from are recalling their hoverboards because there were 46 incidents with fires or explosions. And so 16 people were injured, so they're recalling them so no one sues or anything. And when they recall them, what they're doing is I spent $500 for my hoverboard.
$500?
Yes.
That's a lot of money. Your own money, Leah.
Yes, it's a lot of time to earn that money.
Wow. Good for you that you saved up your own money and bought this thing.
Thank you.
So now yours is one of the ones, because you know millions of these have been recalled because they have had these terrible fire hazards.
Right.
What exactly are you being offered as part of the recall?
So they're offering $200 towards a new certified hoverboard, which is $500 also, so I would still have to pay $300.
That's terrible.
Right, and I wouldn't get any of my real money back.
All right, now wait, what I think from what I've read, aren't they offering you the right to turn it in and have them put in a actual safe battery and you get your own back?
Yes.
Take that.
Take that?
Yeah, because if they're going to put in a properly certified, real, maybe UL-approved battery pack, and you're going to be able to get it back and you're not going to lose any money that way, and you have the hoverboard, you already know it's worked well, other than the fact that it might spontaneously blow up on you. I would send it back and get them to fix it, and then you're not going to be out of pocket $300.
Okay.
You're not going to get to use it for probably 6 weeks or whatever it'll take for them to turn it around.
Right.
But I would definitely just turn it back in and not be out of pocket at all, because you already spent $500 of your hard-earned dollars.
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
Not good anymore. I was excited when I was getting it, though.
Yeah, but if they send it back to you, it's got the new battery, then you should feel okay again.
I would, yes.
Okay. All right. Now, when you send it back, you want to send it away where you know that they've gotten it, which is however you send it, whether it's a UPS store, or you go to one of the FedEx stores, or you go to the post office. You want to send it some method where you have proof that it's gotten there and they've received it.
Right.
Well, best to you, and let me hear back from you, Leah, that you get it back and it's working like it's supposed to, and you're having fun riding that thing again, okay?
Thank you so much.
And I am so impressed with you that you saved your own money and made it happen with your own money. Good job. Joseph's with us on the Clark Howard Show. Hi, Joseph.
Hey, Mr. Clark, how are you?
Great, thank you, Joseph. You're going to go to UCLA.
Yes, sir.
Have you been out to visit the campus?
Yes, sir, I have a couple times, so pretty
great
excited.
Place, great part of town, and you got a good In-N-Out burger just outside the campus.
Yes, sir, very excited about that.
So I've been to that In-N-Out burger many times because I go to UCLA Medical Center. And my reward to myself after every visit to the medical center is I go to that In-N-Out burger.
Well, there you go. We all deserve that sometimes, right?
That's right. So what's going on? How can I be of service?
Well, I'm actually, since I'm moving out to UCLA, I had questions regarding building credit in college. First off, whether you thought that I needed to build credit in college, and if I needed to, would you recommend a credit union, bank, or who should I specifically build my credit through?
All right. So when you turn 21, which for most people is late in sophomore year or junior year in college, you're eligible to get a card from one of the college student credit card programs. And pretty much all the issuers, big and small, now have college student credit cards, because college students are a really profitable market for credit card issuers. And college students, once they have a card from a company, like the first card you get in college, it's not unusual for somebody to keep that card or to keep doing business with that financial institution for decades. So everybody wants to get in your wallet and get their plastic in there when you are a college student. Now, it used to be that when you hit campus for orientation, all the credit card companies would be set up in booths, and they would sign you up for cards right then and there. And what was happening was incoming freshmen, as teenagers, weren't that good handling money, Joseph, and the law was changed, and that's when it was scaled back to waiting till people were 21 before they could get a card. I got a couple of questions for you. When you're 20, do you think that a relative, parent, whatever, would be willing to make you an authorized user on one of their cards? They don't have to give it to you, but make you an authorized user?
Yes, sir, most likely.
Because the advantage of that is that then you'll show up with a credit report. You'll show up with a file. And then when you apply at 21, you'll be able to get a card or two. And 2 is the number I'd like you to apply for.
Okay, great.
But everybody out there wants you as a college student.
Sure. I can understand why.
And college students, you know why college students are the most profitable credit card customers for the banks?
Yes, sir.
Why do you think?
Because we tend to spend a little more on less or more trivial things.
And don't pay the bill in full.
There we go.
So they hit you with a lot of interest. And then what do you think happens when a college student gets in over his or her head with a card and the bill collectors call?
They get a little more money.
Yeah, but what does the college student then do?
Default.
No, they call their mom or dad and say, help.
There you go.
So for the credit card companies, it's a very profitable business because, Joseph, they know that most of the time, if you don't pay, the parents are going to pay. So they make the money with the high interest with very low risk that it's going to default. So that's why 21, because people are much more likely to get in over their heads and default.
Sure.
Well, good luck to you at UCLA. What do you think you want to study?
I'll be double majoring economics and communication studies.
How about you? An econ major. I was the only one in my economics classes in college who wasn't falling asleep. I actually love that stuff. David's with us on the Clark Howard Show. Hi, David.
Yes, good morning.
How are you doing?
In your time? Good. Thanks, Clark. Thanks for taking my call.
Certainly. David, you have a question for me that has puzzled many people. Involves buying gasoline, right?
Yes.
What's the story?
Well, apparently most gas stations, they debit your either debit card, most likely that's what I use to purchase fuel, and they would held quite a large sum of money in your account before the transaction completed.
$150?
I'm sorry?
Was it $150?
It was $100.
100. Okay, and with a debit card, using a debit card at a gas station, and they put that kind of hold on it, a lot of people end up bouncing checks.
Well, fortunately, I didn't, but it's the principle behind it is because it took minimum of 2 hours before they reversed the hold.
Do you know for most people it's 2 to 4 days?
Wow, that's insane.
And you saw the clear in 2 hours. All right, can I tell you what the backstory is?
Sure.
All right, when gasoline got really expensive, starting back in 2009, and we went through that period of time that gas was $4 a gallon or so.
Yes.
People were going to pay at the pump, and they were popping in their card, and then they were getting their gasoline, and then later the gas station would get stuck because there wasn't enough money in somebody's account for it. And so the stations were losing a ton of money because what's known as the hold, the temporary hold, used to be typically $25 or $50. Well, because of the big run-up in gas last decade, the holds went to $100 or $150. And so when you use a credit card, it doesn't hurt you because, no money's left your account. But if you're using a debit card, what happens is money that is actually sitting in your checking account is no longer considered to be there. So let's say you pulled in and you bought $15 worth of gas. As far as it looks on your checking account, you bought $100 worth of gas. So that's what's going on so the gas stations don't get stuck. And so what I recommend in that case, if you're going to like a convenience store, gas station or something like that, and you're using a debit card, is that you go inside and tell them you want $10, you want $20 or $40 or whatever, and instead of a hold, what happens is they debit only that amount of money. And I'm so glad you asked this because a lot of people aren't aware what could cause checks to bounce.
Stay tuned for 60 seconds of AP News headlines right after this podcast.
I have good news and bad news for you here on the Clark Howard Show, where you learn ways to save more and spend less and don't let anybody ever rip you off. You got a question for me? Go to clark.com/ask. If you want just info, go to clark.com. So, good news. credit scores in America are healing significantly. The percent of people who are in categories that are considered to be what's known as subprime, you have significantly wounded credit, is down to 1 in 5 Americans. That is such a relief because we've been through a cycle over the last decade where there have been times where people have had a really, really difficult time with their credit. Today, so much healthier. So people have much more access to credit today. And people are taking out a lot of car loans. Unfortunately, people are borrowing more money in some cases than they should for longer periods of time than they should on car loans. And the result is that delinquencies on car loans rising right now. I want to encourage you, just because you can get approved for a crazy long car loan for a lot of money on a vehicle, that doesn't mean you should do that, because you don't want to put yourself in a position where you're facing for years and years and years having to make that payment. For so many people now taking out 6 and 7 year car loans. That's not, and when I say car, I mean truck, SUV, van, vehicle. I don't want you to put yourself into a bind, put yourself into a difficult spot. The other thing is a study just released from a group called FINRA, which is involved with the stock brokerage industry. They do a survey on people's capabilities with money, whatever. They have found that 1 in 3 credit card holders never make more than the minimum payment. 1 in 3 people who have credit cards never make more than the minimum payment. All right, so here's the problem with that. I mentioned this on a call recently, and it's something that people really don't know or aren't aware of. A lot of times people are getting their credit card statements electronically, so you're missing this. But on a paper credit card statement, there's a box right under the disclosure about what your balance is and what your minimum payment is. And the box shows you how many years you'll be in debt if you only make the minimum payment, never charging another penny on the card. And typically, it will be somewhere between 30 and 42 years. So I want you to take a moment with me and think about, where were you 30 years ago? If you're under 30, you were a figment of somebody's imagination at that point. If you're over 30 and you think back 30 years, I mean, if I think back 30 years, what was I doing? Well, actually, I just retired for the first time. It's 31. But I think about from when I retired the first time at 31 till today, how much has changed in my life? How many things have happened? 30 years, I know it's not a lifetime. It feels like a lifetime ago. It's a generation and a half. So process with me here. If you're just making minimum payments on a card, and I'm being generous saying 30 years, you're just making minimum payments. For me, I'd have to live to 91. Based on the lifespan men in my family, that ain't happening. So if I just paid minimums on credit cards, it would still live and I'd be dead. In your own life, whatever age you are, do you want to still be paying for some stuff you bought today, 30 years from now? I bet you don't. So to ask you to suddenly pay $1 zillion obviously isn't realistic against a balance. But paying more than you are, that is realistic. That same box that I mentioned, look at the second part of the box. The second part of the box tells you what you'd have to pay off that same debt in 3 years instead of 34 or 38 or 42 or whatever number of years. And if you look at that closely, you'll see that for most people, the amount you have to pay more than what you have to pay as a minimum is not gigantic. But even if you step it up just a little bit, great. Or if all you can pay is the minimum, follow the Eisenson method. It's a math formula that you pay half that minimum every 2 weeks. And keep up paying that minimum. Don't use the card anymore. Keep up paying that minimum. The math is compelling because you will end up getting out of debt in 1/4 the time. So if it says 32 years, you'd be debt-free in 8. If it says 40, you'd be debt-free in 10. I know 8 or 10 years still seems like a distance. But versus 30 to 40 years, let's get it done. Hugh is with us on the Clark Howard Show. Hello, Hugh.
Hey, Clark. Glad to talk to you. Never called before, but have listened, and I appreciate all your advice. I have a question.
I'm ready.
My IRAs that I have, which I retired and it went into an IRA. It was in a 401k. And what I was wondering, is there a way that you can cash that in and buy a rental instead, or is that a big penalty for that?
So how old are you, Hugh?
I'm 67.
You can sell it with no penalty at all and use it to buy real estate if you wish. You have to pay tax on it.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was wondering. So
you pay ordinary income tax. So based on if you liquidated your IRA all at once, you have the risk that it'll push you in a higher tax bracket doing that all at once, and you would generate tax. But the thing with buying, so you'd be buying a rental property is what you would do with the money?
Yeah.
So you buy a rental property, it's completely different than having an IRA. An IRA, you don't have to do anything. The statements come in 4 times a year, you file them away. But a rental property is like a side business. Now, I love rental properties. Love having them. But they're totally different. You know, that IRA, you just have it invested. It hopefully is making some money over the years. And the rental property, you're going to have to get out there. You're going to have to deal with showing prospective tenants, go after the tenants if they're not paying rent, make repairs if they need repairs. And so it's not like talking about apples and oranges. It's like talking about apples and ice cream. You know, they're just totally different food groups.
Well, I have a rental piece of property right now I've had for 5 years since I retired.
You love it?
Well, I have made probably $90,000 in those 5 years, and in my IRA I have made nothing.
Oh, no, wait. You can't talk about how the value of the real estate's gone up.
No, I'm talking about the income.
Really?
In 5 years.
That's great.
$90,000.
That's great.
I know it is. That's why, my IRAs, I have lost money on those things.
Well, to have lost money over the last 5 years, I'm disappointed because you shouldn't have. It may be some of the choices the money's in.
Yeah, and those are hard choices when you're dealing with different banks and the way they like to do things. And,
I never like IRAs to ever be with a bank. Banks are terrible, terrible managers of retirement money.
Yeah, I agree. Where should they be?
With low-cost companies like Fidelity, Schwab, Vanguard, T. Rowe Price.
Okay.
You go with low-cost financial houses. But if you were to take the IRA money out and you buy another rental property,
right?
What cash would you have available? What money would you have to live on? Because you can't just sell a rental property. Let's say you're not in the best of health at some point down the road, and you can't just say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to sell it today," and get the money out of it. You have to have what's the plan going to be for money that you're going to live on for cash flow.
Right. Well, the rental that I have right now, I have just saved that money. I haven't spent it. Okay, and my wife is still working, so we've got an income from her, which I don't work. So there is some income in it But if I got another rental, I would probably start saving that money too, and then there would be my income later on. It would be money
okay. So
saved.
you told me something very important. You've got that $90,000 sitting there.
Yeah.
Why don't you? There's no tax for you basically using that money to buy another rental property.
Right. Well, I was looking at. I wanted because I own these. I own that rental property. I don't make payments on it or anything.
Sure,
so
got it. How much are you thinking of spending on another property?
Well, in California, I don't know, somewhere between $200,000 and $300,000.
Okay. So if you were to take the cash you've accumulated over these years and take the other amount of cash you'd need to buy one out of your IRA, you'd reduce the tax you would face. Because you've got Social Security coming in, I guess, and you've got your wife's check.
Right.
So I would feel okay if you were to eat up some of your IRA and take money from the money you've accumulated from having the investment property, and in that combination, buy another rental property. Because you sound motivated to do it, and if you have enjoyed being a landlord, I love being a landlord. It's not for everybody, but if it's worked for you and it's generating a nice return, why not? Patrick's with us on the Clark Howard Show. Hi, Patrick.
Hello, Clark. How are you today?
Great, thank you, Patrick. You got a bill shock.
A big bill shock.
What happened?
Well, I got my renewal for my car insurance the other day and found that it had gone up 60%.
60?
60%.
Do you have a teenager like I do who just became a driver?
No, we're both retired, and we have excellent driving records. So I had to research it, of course, called our person, and found out that with a credit freeze, they raised me from you probably know about this, a bracket 10 to a bracket 20 because I had my credit frozen.
Right. The insurer has the ability to do what's known as a soft hit check on your credit, even with it frozen. So your insurer has let you down.
Well, I'm sure my insurer has let us down. And the other thing about that, too, is that I go through an agent, and she didn't know anything about it, and so she was talking to the company about this, and they said, we have to pull all 3 reports, and we need 10 days to do this. So I had to, of course, unfreeze all my credit reports, so now I'm just waiting for the company to come back with another quote.
Have you considered, if this company is providing such bad customer no service, why don't you have your agent shop other companies?
Our agent does shop other companies, but we're...
Yeah, but I mean, right now, while your credit's thawed, why don't you have your agent shop you with multiple companies right this moment, where any company would be able to check your credit just like they're doing? But there's something they're doing wrong at this insurer, because once you're already their customer, they are allowed to check your credit even when it's frozen. So they're doing something wrong administratively. So while it is thawed, have your agent shop with multiple companies.
Yeah, I contacted my credit union, and they do that too. So that is a good call. But I just wanted to inform your listeners that if you're going for insurance, it could possibly be a hassle.
But it should not be when you're already a customer. That's the thing, Patrick. I want to make sure that I clarify here. Your insurer just did the wrong thing.
Okay, now would that be the end insurer?
Yes.
Or is that
not your agent. That is the insurer itself that is not following proper procedure when a credit freeze is in place. And as a result, they rip you off, and that is not okay. Jason joins us on the Clark Howard Show. Jason, just moments ago, we had someone calling about investing in real estate, and you're interested in a way that you would be a real estate investor but not have to do the work. Is that right?
Yes.
And what is it that you've been looking at?
Well, I saw it on social media, and I was reluctant, but I did some due diligence and some detective work for you.
All right, I just killed the name of the company because that's not significant here. What they do, this particular real estate investment group, pools money from different people. Mm-hmm. They pick specific properties, and then they charge you a management fee for managing your money, and they don't charge a big management fee either, a couple of %, right?
Right, correct.
And it is legit.
Yeah, their website seemed very legitimized, and I thought, well, Clark would know, so I posed the question to you to see
this is not a ripoff or anything like this, but it's not the most efficient way for you to invest in a number of real estate properties of various types. Mm-hmm. The best way to do it, I'm going to give you two different paths, okay? Mm-hmm. The most respected and time-tested of all is something called the Cohen and Steers Realty Fund. And it trades like a mutual fund. Mm-hmm. And look at it, and it does similar things to the one you're looking at, but at a much lower cost. And you can buy and sell as you wish at any time.
Well, thank you.
And it's called Cohen and Steers. Now, the other you should look at is what's known as a REIT, R-E-I-T, index fund.
Yeah.
Real Estate Investment Trust Index Fund. And you can find those at even much lower cost than Cohen and Steers. If you look, Vanguard has one. All the big players have them. Mm-hmm. And that would be a very effective, low-cost alternative for you to own little pieces of many different real estate investment groups. And it is a very, very efficient way for you to do it, more efficient than what you've been looking at. Again, not a scam. The one you're looking at, just a little too high cost.
Thanks for listening to the Clark Howard Podcast. Download new episodes every Monday through Friday at podcastone.com. That's podcastone.com. Stay tuned for the latest AP News headlines from Podcast One right after this.
AP Update, I'm Ross Simpson. Dr. Thomas Frieden, who directs the Centers for Disease Control, is disappointed that efforts to contain mosquitoes in Miami that are believed to be responsible for Zika virus in the Wynwood neighborhood are not producing the desired results the CDC would like to see.
We're not seeing the number of mosquitoes come down as rapidly as we would have liked. That could be because they're resistant to the insecticides being used, or that they're still standing water that they're breathing in.
Farther up the East Coast, Dr. Howard Zucker, the health commissioner in New York State, says so far none of the Zika cases were caught from mosquitoes in the state.
We had 537 positive cases confirmed, 123 of those outside of New York City and 414 in New York City. The cases have been related to travel, all but 5, and those 5 cases were sexually transmitted cases.
AP Update, I'm Ross Simpson.